So here at Midwest Prototyping, our cast urethane process for mold making, the process we use the most is box mold, which is a two-part pour. So what we'll have is our master, which is printed on our 3D printers, typically in an SLA material. And we get those and they're finished, primed in our finishing department. They come over and we make our decisions on where our parting line needs to be. And we'll take the master itself and we'll clay it up, and we'll make fixtures for it and make sure that all of the undercuts are handled on the master itself so that we're not locking it into one side or the other. And where we clay up is exactly where that parting line is going to be. So that's where the one half will separate from the other half. And once we have this process done, it's all clayed up, we wipe it all down, make sure it's all clean. And then we have our box that will go over the master itself. So the box looks familiar or similar to that. And we'll make sure that everything's got clearance, which is why you see these lines on the top here and the lines on here as well to match the box. So we know exactly where that part's going to be inside the silicone. And we'll plan out where our fill hole is going to be and where the vents are going to be for the air to come out when we fill it full of silicone. And then that'll look something similar to this. And we'll put that onto there. We'll either clamp or screw it down depending on the size of the mold. And then we'll use our machine to pump in silicone into the fill hole. And the silicone will fill in the mold. It'll come up all these holes. We know it's full. And then it goes into our pressure pot at between 40 and 60 PSI for 24 hours. And then what you have is a part that looks like that. So we'll actually take this base plate, all of the clay and fixturing off of the part, and you end up with the first pour. Now from this point, we'll take the other side of the box and we'll line that up and decide where the gates and the vents are going to be. We'll take that, we'll drill those holes so the gate and the vents have somewhere to go. And then we'll put that top part on, screw it down, fill that full of silicone as well. And the process for that, so this is, you'll see we have the sticks holding up, the sticks that the gates and the vents glue to. And the holes are drilled and we have a fill hole for the silicone to go in. And then from this point, it is filled with silicone. When you're making decisions about where you're putting the gates and the vents, the gate is typically in the low spot of the part so that it can flow through and push air out of the mold when it's filling full of urethane. And then the vents are just anywhere that we think air could be trapped inside that mold. So once that part gets filled with silicone, it looks like this after its 24-hour cure period. And then we pull the gate and all the vents out of the mold itself. We'll take the master out of the mold and clean everything up, make sure that all the holes are through holes so that the air can get out when we're filling it. And then it gets filled with urethane, which will look similar to that then. So depending on the urethane, it'll go into our pressure pots from anywhere from half an hour to up to 24 hours, depending on what material we're using. But once it's cured, it comes back out of the pressure pot, and then we take these gates and vents out of the mold itself, and then we open up the mold, and then you have a part. And you'll end up with something like this. We've removed all of the urethane that we've shot, and you can pop that open, and there you have your finished part. So we'll take that part off, clean up the mold, put it back together, rinse and repeat. We do the whole process again for however many parts are ordered. A typical mold will hold up for about 25 parts. Some can be a little more, a little less, depending on undercuts, the geometry of the part, and all factors of the urethane and whether it exotherms at a higher temperature or not. All that plays a role into how many parts you can get out of mold. So that's our typical process for box molds, two-pour molds. And you can see when you had that clayed up, you can see exactly where it left that void and filled in that void with the second pour, and that's what creates our parting lines for the part itself. So aside from this process, there's a couple other processes that can be used to make molds. One of which is a cut mold. And what that is we simply take the part, we glue the gate and vent to the part itself and suspend that part inside of a makeshift box that we create. And then we fill the whole thing with silicone in one pour. And then once it's set after 24 hours in the pressure pot, it comes out as a solid chunk. You remove all the gates and vents. And then we take an X-Acto knife and we choose where it's going to be cut to be able to create that parting line. And then you end up with something similar to this. And the parts that came out of this, as you can see, we can make a wide variety of colors. We can color match most colors. It will depend on the base color of the material itself on how close we can get on certain colors, but most of the time we can get pretty close. But yeah, so that's a cut mold. It's a day faster because it takes a day for each side of the urethane or each side of the silicone to cure. So it's a little bit faster process, but the part typically has to be pretty simple for this to be efficient. And then another process we have, being that we have in-house 3D printers, is to be able to 3D print a mold. We do this a lot with silicone parts. They're easier to get out of a 3D printed mold than they are out of a silicone mold. You can still use a silicone mold to make silicone parts, but this is a lot easier. The other benefit to this is this will virtually last forever as long as we don't have to heat it. And so this is just something that's designed, printed up, put together, we screw it together, and then same process, it's got gates and vents for the material to go in and come out. And yeah, so that's another option that we have available to us, being that we have our 3D printing in-house. And then our last process is simply a gravity pour, single pour mold. What this will do is, for things that are a little more complex, like you can see there's a lot of locked-in features in this part. So we wouldn't be able to do a two-part very easily, a box mold very easily. But what we can do is suspend this, much like a cut mold, and we pour the silicone around it in one go. We do keep the box, but we tear the box apart, and then we'll cut down the lines depending on where we need it to come off. And we'll cut through these big gaps here to be able to take this box apart, pull the silicone apart, and we'll actually have it, and then that part can be removed that way. As you can see, we can do that with a lot more complicated parts. It's very time consuming, but it is something that is possible, and we can get a lot more complicated parts out of a mold similar to this. And then to fill this, it doesn't have gates or vents, so we just literally pour the material right into the hole until it fills up to the top, and then we put it in a pressure pot and wait for it to cure, and then take it back apart in the morning. And that covers what we have available for our mold making capabilities here at Midwest Prototyping. So for the urethanes, they're typically a two-part urethane, where you need to make sure that they're mixed really well. And then the B side is the side that you typically will use first, because that's the side that will get colored. 90% of the materials on the market, the B side is the side that will take color very well. The A side will typically leave it a little wavy. So you want to mix into the polyol side. It doesn't take much pigment for a small part. So once we have that black pigment in there, we'll mix that up. When mixing, you just want to make sure that everything's mixed in really well. You're scraping the bottom of the cup, scraping the sides of the cup. Make sure that it's integrated so that you don't have any patches of unpigmented or unset material. So then after you have the pigment mixed in, then you can go to the A side or the isocyanate. And with this particular material, it's 1:1, so you're using the same amount of weight for the A and the B side. And again, the same process for mixing. You just want to make sure that all the sides, the bottom, are scraped well. And once the A and the B side are put together, you're on the clock. Whatever work time you have for that particular material starts as soon as those two sides touch each other. With this particular material, it's about a 3-minute work time, so there's plenty of time to make sure that everything's mixed proper. No real rush. And then once it's all mixed, it goes under vacuum to be able to remove as much of the air out of the material as possible. And if you look down into the vacuum pot, you'll actually see the material will raise up and then it'll lower as the air gets forced out of the material. It'll take just a moment. You see it starts to bubble a little bit. And then here's where the material really starts to rise up. So you want to make sure that you're working in a vessel that's larger than the material you're mixing, so it does have room to do this. And then once it gets to its peak, it's going to start bursting all of those bubbles, and you're going to see it quickly drop back down. So at that point with most materials, you're good to be able to pour that material or inject it. With this one, we have a little extra work time, so we'll give it just a few more seconds to degas there. And then we'll take this material over to our mold. And we have syringes to be able to pull that material out of the cup. You want to make sure you're not introducing any air into that syringe. And then that syringe goes into the gate. And then we just slowly push that material into the mold. The reason you want to go slow is so that it has time to push the air out. And you can see when it starts getting full, that material will actually come up some of those vents. And we know that it's good to go. And at that point, we'll empty our syringe. And then we'll take that over to our pressure pot. And that'll go inside of our pressure pot. Close our doors. We have our door seal, and then we have the main pressure. This particular material is 1.5 hours long, so we'll mark on the door when it can come out.